Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to do the English poem A Thing of Beauty, written by the famous poet John Keats in your class 12 book Flamingo. Before we start the poem, let's read something about this famous poet named John Keats. John Keats was born on 31st of October in 1795, that is in the late 18th century. And in early 19th century, that's on 23rd February 1821, he died also. He was an English romantic poet. A now romantic poet means one who writes his poems based on imagination. He was one of the main figures of the second generation of romantic poets, along with Lord Byron and P.B. Shelley. You must have heard of these two poets. They are very, very famous in the English literature. Despite his work having been in publication for only 4 years before his death. So although his poems were not generally well received by critics during his lifetime, his reputation grew after his death. So when he was alive, he did not gain too much of the popularity, but after his death, he became very popular in English literature. So by the end of the 19th century, he had become one of the most beloved of all English poets. He had a significant influence on a diverse range of poets and writers. The poetry of Keats is characterized by sensual imagery, most notably in the series of odes. His odes are the most popular creations. Today, his poems and letters are some of the most popular and most analyzed in English literature. His notable works are To Autumn, Ode to a Nightingale, On First Looking into Chaplain's Home, and Ode on a Grecian Urn. Before we start the explanation of the poem, let's go through the introduction of the poem. A British romantic poet, John Keats, published his first epic poem, Endymion, in 1818. It is a narrative about the relationship between a goddess, that is moon goddess, and her human lover. The poem is based on the Greek myth of Endymion, the shepherd who falls in love with the moon goddess Selene, whom the poet renames as Cynthia, that you must have read in the introduction of the poem given in the book. And this extract, A Thing of Beauty, that we have in our textbook, it talks of how beautiful things give us pleasure and alleviate suffering and sorrow. The epic poem Endymion begins famously with the most famous proverb, A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Let's start with the recitation and the explanation of the poem. The first stanza goes something like this. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. So the word bower here means a shady place under the tree. So the poet wants to say here that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. That means a beautiful thing provides us a joy forever. Doesn't matter if it is physically present in front of your eyes or not, but its existence or non-existence is always there, and it provides us joy for eternity. Its loveliness increases with time. It will never pass into nothingness. Means with the passage of time, with every passing day, its loveliness, its beauty increases and its existence never ceases. Never pass into nothingness here means that its existence never stops. Its existence never ceases, but will keep a bower quiet for us. So those things of beauty that we consider beautiful in our life, they provide a shady place under the tree. It doesn't mean that it makes a shady place under the tree. It means that the calmness, the relaxation, the soothing of peace, the peace of mind that we receive when we are under a shady place of the tree, the same calmness, the same soothness that we receive from there, we receive the same from all the things of beauty around us. And a sleep full of sweet dreams, health and quiet breathing. So it provides us the same peace of mind, calmness and a quiet breathing that we receive when we have a sound sleep. When we have a sound sleep which is full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing, we feel happy, we feel calm, we feel peace of mind, and the same peace of mind we receive when we have things of beauty around us. So the poet says that beauty stays forever. It never fades away. Rather, it increases with the passing time. The perception of the poet regarding beauty is that it never goes off with the passing time. Rather, it beautifies more and more. For the poet, beauty is like a beautiful, shady tree under whose shade all the creatures can sleep peacefully and enjoy good health. So here you can see that some literary devices that the poet has used in this stanza. Number one is the rhyme scheme. You must have noticed the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, B and C. So the first and the second line, the last words are rhyming, that is forever and never. In the third and fourth line, the last words are rhyming, that is keep and sleep. And the last word breathing, that does not rhyme with any other word. So the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, B and C. Next, the poet has used alliteration. Alliteration means the use of consonant sound at the start of two words which are close in series. That is sleep and sweet, right? That is sleep here and a sleep full of sweet dreams. So sound of S is being repeated closely. That is how this poet has used alliteration. And he has also used metaphor here. Metaphor used in the words bower quiet for us. That is, calmness of the bower is compared to the calming effect of a beautiful thing. Let's go to our second stanza of the poem. The poet continues, therefore on every morrow are we reading a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of despondence of the inhuman dearth of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over-darkened ways made for our searching. Yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. So let's see the meanings of the difficult words first given in the stanza. First is morrow. Here the poet has used the word morrow, therefore on every morrow. Morrow means the following day. It can also mean the morning, the beginning of every new day. Next he is given the meaning of reading. Reading means, are we reading? Means surrounding, encircling, gathering, collecting one by one. Despondence. Despondence means depressed, sadness, disappointments in our lives which cause sadness, and gloomy means sad. Let's do the explanation of the poem. The poet says, therefore on every morrow. So let's really relate it with the first stanza. It says there are too many things of beauty in our life which give us peace of mind, that which give us satisfaction and soothing effect on our souls. So therefore, that is the reason that on every morning, on every new day, are we reading? Are we reading? See here the poet has inversed the use of words. Are should have been after we, but he has used it before the word we. So this is called inversion, the poetic device that he has used here. That is, normal order of words is reversed. So he says that are we reading? And reading means gathering, surrounding and circling. So therefore on every new day, on every morning, we are surrounding ourselves, we are encircling ourselves, or one by one we are collecting in our mind all the beautiful things that appeal to us, and by collecting them we make a flowery band in our heart, in our mind, one by one to bind us to the earth. Like this, one by one we collect the beautiful memories in our mind, and they are gathered in our mind just like this flowery band that you can see here. So that bind us to the earth, spite of despondence, because there is spite, there is hatred, this is despondence, there are depressing days, there is depression around us. Of the inhuman, there is inhumanity around us. There is dearth, dearth means shortage, There's dearth of noble natures around us. So around us there is too much of hatred, too much of despondence, too much of inhumanity, too much of the shortage of noble natures, people with good natures. There is a shortage of good natured people around us. And in spite of the gloomy days, days that cause sadness in our lives, and all the unhealthy and over darkened ways made for our searching. So there are too many things in the world that cause hatred, that cause despondence or disappointments, that cause inhumanity. There's dearth, there's shortage of people with good nature. There are too many days which are very sad, which are gloomy. There are too many things which are harmful or unhealthy for us. There are too many things which are over darkened ways made for our searching. Such ways, such activities in which we involve ourselves and we are unhealthy for us. Yes, in spite of all this list of the things which cause sadness. So you can mark them one by one because this is an important question, that list the things that cause sadness and pain to human beings. In this you can find that this is number 1. There is spite, there is despondence, there is inhumanity, there is dearth of noble natures, there are gloomy days, number 5. Number 6 is unhealthy and over darkened ways. So in spite of all these things, there is some shape of beauty that moves away the pall. Pall means the covering of the shroud, you can say. Pall that covers the happiness of our beauty, that stops us from being happy. There are some things of beauty in everybody's life which takes away the shroud, the covering from our darkened spirits, means our sad souls, and make us happy. So the poet says that every day it is the beauty which fills us with the spirit to live. It is the beauty which builds the desire in us to live. Though there are sad moments also, there are cruel people around us. So here the poet wants to say that without beauty, the earth will be full of cruel people, sad and gloomy moments. So it is the beauty which is created by God Himself, which helps us to remove the sadness from our hearts. Let's see some literary devices used in the second stanza. Number 1 is Anaphora. Anaphora is use of same word in 2 consecutive lines. That is, he has used the word of, like of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy, and so the repetition of the word of is used again and again. So that is Anaphora. Number 2, he has used the poetic device of alliteration. That is, use of consonant sound at the start of 2 words which are close in series, which we have done in the first stanza also. Here also he has done the usage of alliteration, which is band and bind. The b sound is repeated. In noble natures, n sound is repeated, and in some shape s is repeated here again. Metaphor also he has used when he says we are reading a flowery band. That means the beautiful things of our life bind us to the earth. Then he has used imagery. Imagery means bringing images in our mind by using different words, like creating a sensory effect of beautiful things lined up in a stream, a flowery band. Like this image of band was indulged in our mind. Then there is an inversion that I already explained here. That is, normal order of words is reversed. Further, the poet continues with the things that are enlisted as things of beauty in our life. Let's read the stanza. It goes like such: the sun, number 1. Number 2, the moon. Number 3, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon for simple shade. Number 4, daffodils, with the green world they live in. Number 5 is the clear rills that for themselves a cooling poet make against the hot season, and the mid-forest break that will continue in the next stanza, that is number 6. So in this stanza, the poet has talked about the things which are things of beauty. Number 1 is such: the sun. Then the moon. Trees which are thousands of years old, they are also impressive. they are also beautiful. Trees which are very, very young, which are just sprouting, which are just planting saplings, they are also very impressive, they are also very beautiful. And such trees and plants that sprout a shady boon, that give a shady blessing for simple sheep, for innocent animals. So boon means blessing. So such trees which are old, very, very old, or such plants which are very young, such trees which give or sprout a shady blessing by giving the shade to the animals, to the innocent animals, which are just a blessing to them. Such are daffodils, or for that matter any other plant that you can count that you find beautiful. So daffodil is just an example. He says that such are daffodils. Daffodils are very beautiful flowers with the green world they live in, and not only the flowers, but the greenery around the flowers is also as beautiful as the colorful flowers are. And then he says there are clear rills. Rills are small streams. So there are clear rills, small streams, rivers that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season, that provide a cool, comforting zone themselves in the hot summer season. In the heat of the summer season, in the heating season, the small clear rills, the small streams provide a cool, comforting zone, and they create it themselves. And the mid-forest break. When you stop in the middle of the forest, you find a beautiful fragrance coming from somewhere that is also very, very beautiful. So here the poet describes the beautiful things which are present on earth. These are the sun, the moon, trees, flowers, daffodils. Daffodils, he is just given an example that it can be daffodils, it can be other flowers also, and the rivers. Poet says that all these things are like a blessing bestowed on all the creatures by God. He further describes that the trees provide us with their shade, and flowers with their beauty, and rivers with their coolness during the hot summers. And all of these are the beauties of nature, which are like a boon for us, like a blessing for us. Let's see some literary devices that the poet has used in this stanza. Number one is alliteration, that is the use of consonant sound, where he has used start two different words which are like in S in sprouting, shady, simple sheep, and C in cooling, cold. Then he has brought in imagery that we have discussed earlier also, that is trees giving shade, sprouting shady boon, growing process of daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear river streams, that is clear rills. So this is the list of beautiful things that poet has enlisted. Then he says, rich with the sprinkling fair musk rose blooms, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms that we have imagined for the mighty dead. All lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal ray pouring unto us from the heaven spring. Let's see some difficult words. Grandeur. Grandeur here means a high rank or socially important, or you can say magnificence or splendor, or a splendidness of something can be grandeur. Mighty. Mighty means enormous or very powerful, very big. Immortal means never dying, that never dies, never ceases to exist. And bring means edge. So the poet continues with his list of the beautiful things, and in his list he has added here the mid-forest break, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. That the break in the middle of the forest where we can smell the beautiful fragrance of a fair musk rose. The musk rose is the wild rose that blooms in the forest, and its fragrance is sprinkled in such spreads in across a vast area, so that the fragrance of the musk rose blooming in the middle of the forest way, that is also a thing of beauty. And then he says, such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. So here this is the most important line of the poem, when he says that grandeur of the dooms. Now dooms means the death day, the last day of the earth, when the world will come to an end, that is called doomsday. So how can grandeur, magnificence, beauty be associated with death? How can we imagine beauty for the mighty dead? ये कैसे हो सकता है? So the poet says that grandeur of the dooms that we have imagined for the mighty dead. So giving you an example that you can think of a death of a terrorist and the death of a soldier. So you can compare that when a terrorist dies, he is remembered by none, rather people bless the God for his death. But when a soldier dies, people pay tributes in thousands of numbers after his death. He is remembered after his death. Martyrs are made symmetrical of, symbols are made in their memories. So this is a difference, that death can also be beautiful. We can imagine the death of a very famous celebrity or a popular person, a person who is very, very popular. When he dies, people remember him after his death also. So when somebody dies and we are so impressed by it that we say, okay, that death should be like this, that I should be remembered even after my death. So such a death is also very, very beautiful. Then he says, all the lovely tales that we have heard or read, all the beautiful stories that we have come across, we have read somewhere, we have heard them from somewhere, all these things of beauty. So we had listed 6 things in our previous stanza, and here comes the number 7, that is our fair musk rose, that is number 7. Grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead is number 8. And last but not the least, number 9 is the lovely tales that we have heard already. So the poet says that all these things are just like an endless, never-ending fountain of immortal drink. Immortal drink means just like the immortal nectar, and they have been provided to us, pouring unto us from the heaven's brink. That means given to us, provided to us by the God himself. They are coming to us from the God. So you must have seen that, must have noticed that all the things that we have, that the poet has listed here as the things of beauty, they are all God sent to us. God has sent to us. They are natural. They are not made by man. They are not artificial. So they have been directly sent to us by God himself. So the poet further carries his list with the description of the more beautiful things present on earth, such as beautiful musk roses, which have such a nice fragrance. And then he describes the tales of the mighty warriors who laid their lives for their countries or for humanity. He says that these beautiful things are the gifts from God for all of us. They are like a nectar of which given to us by God, and these are those beauties which are immortal and give us a reason to live on this earth despite having so many sorrows in our life. Let's see some literary device that the poet has used here. First is alliteration. Alliteration, the sound has been repeated here in series like have, heard. Her sound H is repeated here in have and heard. Then he has used metaphor. Metaphor is immortal drink. Beautiful objects of nature are forever, like a never-ending portion of a drink. Then the rhyme scheme is used in every stanza of the poem. That is forever and never, keep and sleep, dead and red, etc. Then imagery, that is bushes full of musk roses, sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms, and books describing valor of fighters. That is God providing us with best thing, that is pouring from the heavens rain. So that is how the poet has enlisted things that are beautiful in life also. So this is a list of the new words that the poet has used in the poem, that is bower, morrow. We have all explained these while explaining the stanzas of the poem. Morrow, reading, spite, then despondence, noble, pal, spirits, sprouting, shady bone, rills, covert, grandeur, dooms, and immortal and heaven's brink. We have done all these words while explaining the paragraphs of the poem to you. So the list, the things of beauty mentioned in the poem, one of the most important questions of the poem, that is the sun, number 1. Number 2 is the moon. Number 3 are the shady trees. Number 4 is the beautiful flowers. Number 5, the greenery in which the flowers survive. Number 6, the streams of waters, the clear rills that we have read. And number 7 is dense green bushes of forest, that is ferns, where fragrant musk roses grow. And last but not the least, tales of heroic men who sacrifice their lives. The things that cause suffering and pain to us, that is desire to offend others, hopelessness, lack of noble men, bad health, unhappiness, gloom, darkness, all these are things that cause suffering and pain to us. The theme of the poem is that the very opening line of the poem, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. It openly recites the very theme of the poem. That is, any beautiful object is always treasured in our mind because it provides us eternal and everlasting joy. The happiness that anything beautiful provides never fades into nothingness, but it multiplies manyfold whenever it returns to our mind. So a beautiful thing, a thing of beauty, it might be there in front of our eyes or not, it might have physical existence or not, but it always remains in our mind and provides internal joy or happiness to us. Let's quickly summarize the poem. This poem presents the reader with the views of Keats on beauty and its value and its importance to humans. As you know, human beings give a lot of value to beauty. Beauty, in whatever form it may be found, is an eternal joy to humans because it offers humans the constant means continuous opportunity to reflect on that beauty, that we keep on thinking of that beautiful thing constantly, which stands in such stark contrast to the dejection, monotony and ugliness of our everyday lives, that inspires us, motivates us against the depression, against the monotony and ugliness of our everyday lives. In spite of all difficulties and the sufferings that humans face, beauty has the ability to produce happiness and temporarily shift the burdens that humans bear. So that is the thing of beauty. I hope you understood it. Thank you for watching.